next up, we have MustGrow, and Corey Giasson is going to be presenting. Corey, I think you should be able to turn on your mic and camera now. And I think Jessica has a brief description of the company for us.
Thanks, Deb. MustGrow currently trades on the CSE under the ticker symbol MGRO and MGROF. Basically, MustGrow is an agricultural biotech company that is utilizing a patented mustard seed natural biopesticide, which hopefully will replace the need for synthetic chemicals. And I'm sure you can give us much more information on that, Corey.
Great. Thanks, Jessica. Okay, excellent. So thanks, everybody. Corey Giasson, President and CEO of MustGrow Biologics. We're an ag biotech company based in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. Before I begin, I'd like to draw your attention to our disclaimer. It's your typical forward-looking statement disclaimer that can be read on our website in detail at mustgrow.ca. About our company, we're an ag biotech company based in Saskatoon, and we have a natural organic technology platform that is highly efficacious at controlling diseases, pests, and weeds. The technology that we have comes from the mustard seed. We've extracted compounds from the mustard seed, two compounds, two extracts, one being AITC, allyl isothiocyanate. That would be for the diseases and the pests. And thiocyanate is our most recent extract, which would have the herbicide or weed control. All we've done is extracted the natural compounds from the mustard seed. It's derived from food-grade mustard, and it's the natural defense mechanism of the plant. The technology has great potential to be sustainable and disruptive, and our goal is to replace banned synthetic chemistries, synthetic pesticides or chemicals that are being used in the market or have been used in the past. With AITC specifically, there's a lot of information out there that shows that it has positive soil health and ecological impact relative to these chemistries. And we're fortunate enough to have patented our technology. We own 100% of our patents, minus one patent that we've in-licensed from the University of Idaho. And with AITC specifically, we've done a numerous amount of studies, over 110 independent studies with reputable companies such as Specific Ag in the US that shows the efficacy of AITC versus synthetic chemistries. We've got a very tight capital structure of about 47 million shares outstanding, about 54 million fully diluted. And I think the neat thing about this company is that for us to get into production, once we have a registered product, a commercial product, we've identified toll manufacturers that potentially could produce several million liters of product for us per year, which would not require a capital investment for us to get into that initial production. So we foresee a tight capital structure remaining as we go forward. Over the last year, we've announced two collaborations with some ag chemical companies, some global ag chem companies. The first one was with Nexus Bioag. We have a non-exclusive field trial collaboration agreement with them on Canadian canola and pulses. The neat thing with Nexus is that they're a large Western Canadian distributor of fertilizer and chemical products to Western Canadian farmers. And they deal a lot with the Canadian canola growers and pulse growers. So to be working with them on field trials right now on these two number one cash crops growing out here in Western Canada is quite exciting for us. You know, they're heavily involved in this industry, and you know, they talk directly to the farmers that are growing the crops. So we're excited to be working with Nexus here in Western Canada. And our most recent collaboration is with Sumitomo Corporation, which we announced about 3 or 4 months ago. We're working with them in the Americas, that's North America, South America, Central America, to drive field development in basically our whole technology pipeline, minus the canola and the pulses, which we're working with Nexus on. You know, to work with this group, they've got the regulatory team, they've got the R&D team, and they've got people on in all of these countries that are focused in these areas. And we're very excited to be working with them. It's going to fast track our technology pipeline, to advance our technology pipeline, not only in North America, but also in these other countries, such as Mexico. Our team, we've got a small team, but it's a very diverse team with a lot of experience in the industry. Myself, I've got over 25 years of experience in agriculture, grew up in Southwest Saskatchewan on a farm, We actually grew a lot of pulse crops down there. Since completing my MBA at the University of Saskatchewan, I've been involved in not only the agriculture industry with Potash Corp and Anglo Potash, where I was a VP of business development, but in a variety of other industries. My interest is really startups and creating, being an entrepreneur and creating something from nothing, essentially. And very excited to be back in the agriculture space with this company. Key on this team is Colin Bletzky, our Chief Operating Officer. He's got over 30 years of experience. His latest role was VP of Bioag at Novozymes. He looked at hundreds of biological products around the world. He actually looked at this, the first generation technology for the predecessor company of MustGrow. Very interested in this technology, and his expertise in the chemical space and the biological space is second to none. Our board, we've got a diverse group of board of directors, from guys that have been involved in the biological space, in the fruit and veggie space, such as Matt Kowalski, who was with Natural Industries. Actually, Colin's company, Novozymes, purchased that company in 2012. A very successful biological product that continues to get used in the market today is what Matt's company had. All the way to our latest addition to our board, David Barecki, who is the CFO at Impossible Foods. And there's a company that is extracts proteins for plant-based protein products for food consumption, and that we're a similar company in the fact that we extract components from food to, but not for food consumption, but for protection of food, and that to help farmers grow crops. I will draw your attention to two of our scientific advisors. Dr. Dave Maines, our production advisor. He is an expert in processing and extraction from oil seeds, and our extraction process from the mustard seed is key. Dr. Maines is key for us there. And then Dr. Matt Mora from the University of Idaho. He's an expert in developing biopesticides and has spent a career, 30 years plus, researching AITC and the benefits from the mustard seed as a biopesticide. So we always knew our technology worked, but we didn't know why. And now with Dr. Mora on board, we're getting a really good understanding of why and what's the mode of action and how does the product work at controlling diseases and pests. The market drivers, I'm sure you guys have heard a lot about this today. It's food. We need to grow more and more food on a finite amount of arable land. I think the neat thing with our company is that there's another little market driver that's consumers are demanding safe and healthy food supply, and regulatory agencies, they're restricting or banning synthetic chemistries, and that means is how are farmers going to grow crops in the future. One thing I do know is that weeds seem to grow every year. In fact, in my yard, they probably grow every month or every couple of weeks. So how are we going to control those weeds, or how are we going to control that disease so farmers can maximize their yields in that? So natural products such as ours are going to be needed, and it's a very interesting area to be in right now for sustainable agriculture. I mentioned at the start there, AITC has shown a positive soil health and environmental impact. The AITC, it's got a very short half-life of about 24 hours, whereas you see some chemistries out there, they'll have a half-life for weeks or months, and that's not good for the positive soil microbiome in the soil. You want that positive soil microbiome to come back as quick as possible to help maximize yields. And it also has very low water solubility, which is important that it does not end up in streams and rivers and in the watershed. There's three different areas where we're focusing our technology right now, and the first area being the pre-plant soil biofumigant. We want to treat the soil of the diseases or pests like synthetic fumigants before a farmer comes and plants the crop. The second area would be the bioherbicide for weed control with a thiocyanate. And the third one is the post-harvest food preservation. The chart that you see on the bottom left there, the difference between biologics and synthetic chemistries and our product for that matter, is many synthetic chemistries right now, they're very effective at what they do. They work. But some of them are harmful, and they cause cancer. They can be harmful to the environment, whatever. Some of these chemistries are being banned. Whereas biologics, they've come into the market over the last 10 years. They're safe, but they haven't met performance expectations. They've shown to be less effective than synthetic chemistries. And that can be an issue for a farmer. So if a farmer wants to put a product down, they want it to work. What we're seeing with our technology, the mustard extract, is that not only is it safe, it's derived from food grade mustard, you eat it, but it has the efficacy of synthetic chemistries, and that's really unheard of for a natural biologic product. So it is effective. The other thing about our technology is that it's flexible. It can be used based on the current application methods or systems that the farmer is using. It's safe, it's non-hazardous. We've separated the two components so that the activity doesn't happen until it's in the field. It's organic, and it's efficient compared to cover cropping or whatever. We're seeing 100% hydrolysis with our technology versus a fraction of that with a cover crop if you use mustard as a cover crop. And it has great potential to be economic, and that's relative to synthetic chemistry pricing, which is important for the farmer and their bottom line. Our technology truly is a platform. When we started this about 3 or 4 years ago, we were really focused on that top line, being a fumigant for high value crops such as fruit and vegetables, turf and ornamental, tobacco, potatoes, etc. That's where the original first generation technology had sales. They actually had a registration with the EPA and the PMRA, EPA being in the US, PMRA being up here in Canada. About $700,000 of sales. The issue is that it was a very bulky and costly to transport product. It was effective, but farmers would have to put down about 1,000 to 2,000 pounds per acre. Now with this new mustard extract technology, which we formulated in a liquid form, which we're calling Terra MG, we're seeing efficacy in the range of 5 to 20 gallons per acre, which is a lot more in line with what the farmers are used to with the synthetic chemistries. We're currently working on getting our US EPA registration, and this technology is not only can be used for say strawberries in the US, but we're looking at other crops here that have diseases that are soil-borne diseases that there is no solution for, and they're causing quite a bit of havoc around the world. The first one being Fusarium wilt TR4 in bananas. We've had success in the lab. We just announced last week success in field, our first field trial on that. So we're quite excited about that. More work's going to be needed to be done there to understand application methods, application rates, and the amount of applications, etc. But it was a very good initial start for us, and quite excited to continue to push that forward. On the canola and pulse side here in Western Canada, we're working with, as I mentioned, Nexus Bioag. Clubroot is a disease affecting the canola growers out here. There is no solution for it. If you get clubroot in your canola field, you can't grow canola there for like 17 plus years. It's very easily spread, as with Fusarium. These are diseases very easily spread, and they cause a lot of economic damage to farmers. Same thing with Aphanomyces. Aphanomyces, about 90% of the pulse crops growing here in Saskatchewan have Aphanomyces issues. Again, no solution for these diseases. So for us to go in there, we're looking at treating not only reclamating the land that is infected, but also potentially using it as a preventative treatment for farmers to make sure that it doesn't spread from field to field. On the herbicide front, the new extract thiocyanate, we have been doing some work on that, and we continue to look forward to pushing that forward. So we could see potentially a use for that for home and garden, for organic growers that currently have no solutions. There is jurisdictions out there such as Mexico and Germany that have announced the banning of glyphosate by 2025. So what are those farmers going to use? We're looking to provide a natural solution derived from the mustard seed, and that with our thiocyanate extract. And what you see there in the blue at the bottom would be on our post-harvest food preservation. Sprouting control for potato or vegetables. We've in-licensed a patent from the University of Idaho on that. We need to do some testing there to see if our AITC extract will have any efficacy for being a sprout inhibitor for potatoes. Same with on the bulk grain, mycotoxins is a huge issue globally, where if you get mycotoxins in stored grains, these grains can't be used for food consumption or for animal feed. They're basically our waste. So it costs the agriculture industry a tremendous amount of money a year. We're going to be doing some proof of concept testing there. Same with shipping containers, diseases and pests. There's chemistries that get used for shipping containers. Every shipping container that gets transported around the world needs to be treated. Even organic produce gets used gets fumigated with chemistries in their shipping containers and that. So we look forward to testing these different areas on the post-harvest food preservation in the very near future. And we're quite excited about what the future lies in that area. Just focusing in on the top line, Terra MG and the fruit and veggie industry. This is where we're looking to get our initial registration done. We'll be working with Sumitomo in this area here now. Globally, this market is expected to be about a $1.3 billion industry. So about $1.3 billion of fumigation chemical sales globally by 2025. The US has about 45% of that market. So they're expected to have about $585 million of fumigation sales. That's just the chemical sales by 2025. If you look at the bottom chart there, this is the actual hard numbers from 2018 for fruit and veggies, high value crops, potatoes, etc. There's about 10 million acres grown conventionally in 2018. About 1 million acres, or about 10% of those, were fumigated. The average price per acre for fumigation chemical sales was about almost $500 per acre. There was about $470 million worth of fumigation sales. Those are with the conventional fumigation chemicals. We are going to be looking to penetrate that market once we have a registration here, hopefully in the near future. But we see an open opportunity with natural organic product. Buffer zones and organic acres. There's about 350,000 acres of those combined. Buffer zones currently have no solution. You're looking at about 5 to 20% of the fumigated acres are buffer zones. So these are areas around towns or farms, what have you. These chemistries are so toxic that farmers are, they have to have buffer zones to protect those areas where there is population. And then organic acres, again, they have no solution right now for some of these diseases or pests. And we look forward to penetrating that area. And 250,000 acres of organic, fruit and veggie or high value crops. That number is growing quickly due to the increase in demand for organic produce. So this is a snapshot of our capital structure. I mentioned a very tight capital structure, 47 million shares outstanding, about 54 million fully diluted. Insiders have about 17% of the company. We're very fortunate in the last month, or I guess maybe a couple months, to have raised about $7 million. We're sitting on about 9.9 million right now, which is enough capital given our current burn for the next 4 years or so, and to get a lot of work done. And I should mention too, that cash position doesn't include the money that our partners are spending to help move our technology forward to commercialization in a variety of countries in the Americas here. So I'd like to thank everybody for their time, and happy to take any questions.
Thanks, Corey. We do have a few questions, as do I have a few questions. What made you guys think of the mustard seed to begin with?
I guess the original technology came from Agriculture Canada, and they were looking. The inventor of the original technology was looking for something another use for mustard other than food, because if you have non-food grade mustard, it's basically a waste. It can't be used as feed. Farmers have been using mustard as a cover crop for generation. Organic farmers have been for generations, and it's got natural compounds in it that can be very effective at treating diseases and pests. That's where the original technology came from.
And is there any way to make it synthetically, or is there a need to make it synthetically, or is it much cheaper just to use the seeds and progress from there?
There is a synthetic version of AITC, allyl isothiocyanate. So yes, it can be made synthetically. The issue with having a synthetic chemistry, though, is that we're looking to replace a synthetic chemistry with a synthetic chemistry in that. So what we have is an extract from food grade mustard. It's natural, it's organic. You eat it, so there's a difference there.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. When on your US EPA registration, what do you think the timing is going to be on that?
Yeah, so we were hoping to have a registered product for Terra MG by now. It has been delayed. COVID has slowed down governments around the world. So we're estimating, within the next year or two, it's out of our hands. It's in governments, dealing with governments and that the U.S. government, the EPA down there. So it's a slow process, and we're looking forward to also bring Sumitomo in, our partner for Terra MG in the U.S. and in other countries, to bring them in to help with their. They have a regulatory team there that can provide much help.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. I do have a number of questions from the audience, so I want to get to all of those. What is the financial agreement between Sumitomo and MustGrow? Can you talk about the efficacy in controlling TR4 in the field?
Yeah, okay. So I guess the first part is that the financial agreement. So the collaboration agreement that we have with Sumitomo. We haven't disclosed the details on that. It's confidential, I guess. The agreement with Sumitomo is in the Americas, and it still leaves Europe open, it still leaves Asia open, the Middle East, etc. And that's so from us, we don't want that information out right now. And then the second part of that question, I believe, was the efficacy of the TR4, yes, in bananas.
Yes.
So, yeah, so in terms of the efficacy of that, we've seen positive trends for treating the disease in field. The first time we've done that, there was some variability and some limitations for those trials, and that for us to give exact hard data on that, we don't have those numbers. But it's very interesting to see the positive trends and allow us to continue to do more work in field. So now we're going to be going into the field, taking a look at different application methods, techniques, timelines, the amount of applications needed, and then also different application rates as well.
Okay, I'm back to your contracts. These aren't exclusive. Well, you don't have to exclusively deal with the people that you're partnered with right now. Are you in the process of working on some new joint ventures in other parts of the world, or are you sticking with the two that you're working on thus far?
Well, no, our objective is to get our product commercialized as quickly as possible globally. So, if we can help advance getting our technology into Europe or other parts of the world where we're currently not working, yes, we'll be looking at that. If I can say if we're currently working or dealing with anybody on there, I can't answer that.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Besides mustard, have you researched other plants that might have defensive properties that could be utilized for biopesticides?
Well, I guess I can't speak for Colin, our chief operating officer, or the other scientists that we have on hand. But for my answer to that personally would be I've seen a few different extracts, I guess, or different types of plant-based products in that. But our focus is with our mustard technology.
Okay, thank you. And what is the time scale for the various stages of future Fusarium wilt T4 research?
Yeah, so I mean, the initial trials, again, we're quite excited to have completed these field trials that we just did and to have the results that we had, to see these positive trends in the field. Now, when you go to the field, you're going to see a lot of different variability. You're dealing with monsoons or whatever's happening at the time, and that. So it's a lot more, I guess, a lot less controlled environment in that, and a lot more different variabilities in that. The information that we gathered with this initial trial will allow us to continue to do more work. As I mentioned, different application techniques, rates, and time, the amount of applications. So there's going to be some more work, more heavy lifting left to do. I will say, talking to our partners, Sumitomo being one, they were quite excited that we were able to get into field trials as quickly as we have in another country, given COVID and a whole bunch of other issues. So we're excited to bring them in. And we want to get back in the field hopefully soon to continue to push this forward. I will say we haven't heard of any other chemistry, to be able to get to the stage we're at here right now with successful results in the field.
Okay, beyond testing, what is the timeline to commercialize your product for Panama disease in Colombia?
I mean, if we continue to push forward and see positive tests in the field and positive results in the field, there is potential that we potentially could fast track registration for emergency use. Again, Colombia's announced the state of emergency. Ecuador's announced the pandemic regarding this disease. There's a whole bunch of other countries that have this disease as a major issue, not only for the plantations but for their economies. And that there's a lot of workers that deal with bananas, and that. So for us, we want to continue to see positive results in the field, and work with Sumitomo and the regulatory groups to get this commercialized and have a solution for these farmers as quickly as possible. I will say that not only were there scientists involved in Colombia, but also regulatory folks involved in Colombia that were quite excited to see what they've seen. So, we continue to push forward and hopefully get this commercialized as quickly as possible.
And I would think, having done work in Colombia before, they should be pretty open. They're fairly business-friendly jurisdiction, and with a problem such as they're facing, I would think they would want to, like you say, expedite a solution.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's correct. The issue, though, is that this disease is such a devastating disease, is that they've really tightened up area, who can go in and out of these areas. They fenced off these quarantined areas, and you just can't transfer that disease from one location to another. It has to be heavily regulated for treatment and that. So.
And the stock's done extremely well compared to a lot of your competitors. Just curious if you're looking at potentially a NASDAQ listing or anything like that in the near future.
We look at all options. I will say, for us to look at a uplisting and that, we want to make sure that the time is right, and that we meet all the criteria, and that when we do get listed to the NASDAQ or whatever exchange it is, that we won't be delisted. So, or not delisted, but have to pull back. So that's we want to make sure the time is right for our company, and continue. Our focus, though, is to create shareholder value through operations and that. So.
Well, we've had a pretty steady, increase in your stock price. Has that basically just been new investors coming in, or have you had a lot of catalysts to talk about that have news flow has been pretty consistent that has allowed for that?
Well, yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, our shares are very tightly held. 47 million shares outstanding. I estimate probably about 15 to 20 million is in the float, and that. So it's very tightly held. And we've done a few different marketing campaigns and starting to get more exposure to prospective investors that are interested in our company and that. And I think it's just like everybody else that you've had present here. There's a lot of interest in sustainable agriculture. At the end of the day, we're all going to eat, and farmers are going to need solutions to help grow crops for a growing population, and they have to be sustainable solutions.
All right. Okay. And just as we're getting a little close on time, 2 more questions I have for you. What is the status of the bioherbicide trials? Those
trials are going on here right now. Hopefully we'll have results soon. I will say those trials were happening here in Saskatoon. In Western Canada, here, Saskatchewan, there was a drought. So, as soon as we started those trials, we had about 1.5 inches of rain. So hopefully the efficacy of those trials are not affected by weather conditions and that, but we'll find out here. So. Okay. All right. So we have to wait for those, basically, is what you were saying.
Okay. And any guidance on timeline for Univar field trial tests results?
Same as the herbicides. They're going on here right now.
So same issue.
Same issue. Yeah, same issue. It was a drought across Western Canada. So hopefully they haven't been affected, but when they do their work, I mean, we're not expecting that till the winter, and that so
Okay.
they gather the crops or whatever, they get they do the analysis and put the report together. So that'll happen over the next hopefully 2 to 3 months.
All right. Okay, anything else from anybody? Well, I think, thank you, Corey, for your time. I really appreciate it. Very interesting story.
Thank you, guys.